Have you ever stopped and wondered if there's a smarter way to get into space? I mean, besides just using pure, unadulterated brute force? Well, a new paper is floating a wild idea, something straight out of science fiction. Instead of fighting the atmosphere tooth and nail, what if we could just ask it to step aside?
You know, for the entire history of spaceflight, getting a rocket off the ground has been an all-out war. It's a battle against the environment, and the only strategy we've really had is to build bigger, more powerful engines to just punch a hole straight through the sky.
In the atmosphere, oh, it fights back. Hard. In two major ways. First, you've got drag. It's like this giant invisible hand trying to hold the rocket back with incredible force. And second, all that friction creates immense scorching heat that literally tries to melt the vehicle. The traditional solution? Just be tougher than both.
But what if we could change the rules of that fight? A fascinating new paper, which actually pulls inspiration from a much older Russian concept called AJAX, suggests a total shift in how we think about this problem. So the big question is, how do you win a battle that has defined rocketry for more than half a century? Do we just keep building bigger and bigger rockets forever? Is that really the only path forward?
Well, the old answer has always been a pretty simple one. Yep, more brute force, more thrust, thicker heat shielding, more raw power to overcome what we thought were unchangeable laws of physics.
But this new answer? It's something else entirely. It says, don't just fight harder, change the battlefield. What if you could actively modify the air in front of the rocket, making it way easier to fly through? And the author of the paper, Joseph Defender, he just puts it perfectly. He says the goal is to make ascent less about overpowering the atmosphere and more about negotiating with it. That one word, negotiating, that changes absolutely everything. Okay, so you're probably wondering, negotiate with the atmosphere? How on earth does that even work? Well, let's dive in. It's not magic, it's physics, and it comes down to a toolkit of 3 really cool sci-fi sounding technologies that all have to work together.
First up, we need to talk about plasma. You know, solid, liquid, gas? Well, plasma's the fourth state of matter. Just think of it as a super hot gas that's electrically charged. The idea here is to use something like a laser to create a thin sheet of this plasma right in front of the rocket. It acts like an invisible electromagnetic cushion, a force field really, that can precondition the air before the rocket ever even hits it.
So you've got this plasma force field, but how do you control it? That's where this mouthful of a word comes in, magnetohydrodynamics, or MHD for short. Now it sounds really complicated, but the core idea is pretty simple. Because plasma is electrically charged, you can use powerful magnetic fields to push it around. MHD is basically the steering wheel for your plasma shield.
And this is where the idea becomes truly brilliant. The whole system is basically a clever energy recycling loop. First, powerful magnets literally pull electrical energy right out of the hot, fast-moving air. The amazing side effect is that this actually slows and cools that air down. Then, the plasma shield we just talked about guides this now much tamer airflow around the rocket. And the best part? That electricity you just harvested gets re-injected straight into the engine exhaust, giving you extra thrust. It's like having regenerative braking for the atmosphere itself.
Of course, a system this powerful needs a serious power source. The paper proposes a compact onboard nuclear reactor. Now hold on, it's crucial to understand this is not for propulsion. It's not a nuclear rocket. Think of it more like the reactors on a naval submarine. It's just there as an electrical generator, providing the megawatts of power needed to run the lasers and those incredibly strong magnets.
Okay, I know, this all sounds very theoretical, maybe 100 years away, but the paper actually points to a specific vehicle that could be the perfect testbed for this technology right now. SpaceX's Starship. So why Starship? Why is it the perfect platform for this kind of crazy idea?
Well, it turns out Starship kind of ticks all the boxes. Its stainless steel body is already a beast when it comes to handling extreme heat. It also has a massive internal volume, which is perfect if you need to fit a big power system inside. Plus, its super cold fuels could be used to help cool those powerful magnets. And, maybe most importantly, since Starship is designed to be fully reusable, anything that reduces the stress of launch and re-entry is a huge win for making the whole system last longer.
So let's get down to it. If we could actually make this thing work, what's the payoff? And, just as importantly, what are the massive challenges that are stopping us from just building it tomorrow?
So here's what a flight would actually look like. The system wouldn't even turn on until the rocket hits about twice the speed of sound. Then, as it accelerates past Mach 5 and screams up toward Mach 12, Right in that zone where the atmospheric forces are at their most brutal, the full MHD system would be active, dramatically cutting both drag and heat. And then, as the air thins out, the system just gently tapers off.
And the payoff? Oh, it is absolutely mind-blowing. Based on those original AJAX studies, a system like this could reduce a vehicle's takeoff weight by 25%. And it could cut fuel requirements by a staggering 40%. These aren't small improvements, you guys. These are revolutionary, game-changing gains.
But let's be really clear here. This is incredibly difficult. The paper points out some massive engineering challenges. Building superconducting magnets that are light enough is a huge one. Making sure the plasma shield is actually stable at hypersonic speeds is another. Then you've got to prevent all that electromagnetic energy from scrambling the rocket's computers. And, oh yeah, you have to safely shield a nuclear reactor. These are monumental tasks.
Ultimately, though, it all brings us back to that fundamental change in perspective. This paper is asking us to stop seeing orbital ascent as just a propulsion problem and to start seeing it as an environment control problem. It's about finally working with physics, not just fighting against it.
So what do you think? Is this a real glimpse into the future of spaceflight, where we gracefully negotiate our way through the sky? Or is it just a brilliant idea that's destined to remain beautiful physics trapped on the pages of a research paper? I guess the answer really depends on whether we can solve those monumental engineering challenges.